This is 6 News at 5.
Now at 5, the search for survivors grows grim. An iconic Baltimore bridge collapses and several are presumed dead.
Plus, a huge economic boost is headed to Central Texas. Why the Eclipse is needed, a big deal, even if you don't think so.
And help for the children of a Temple murder-suicide. How a neighbor is offering hope and help to the children devastated by tragedy. Good evening and thanks for tuning in tonight. I'm Lindsay Lippman.
Glad you're here, everyone. I'm Chris Radcliffe, and a sad story to begin with. A domestic violence altercation this weekend led to the deaths of 2 parents in Temple. Now their children's lives have been changed forever. The
2 children are now with family, and a neighbor is offering help and hope tonight. 6 News anchor Adriana Alexander has more on that tragic incident and what led their neighbor to help. Adriana?
Temple Police Department identified 36-year-old Jasmine Armstrong as the woman who was shot and killed in Temple. Police identified her husband, Britton Armstrong, as a suspect, but not long after they found him and he committed suicide. Their neighbor, Scott Huntley, told me him and his family had a close bond with the Armstrong family, and those 2 kids were close to his daughter. After processing what happened, Huntley decided to create a GoFundMe to help those 2 children with this transitional period and is accepting clothing and shoe donations. Huntley says everything he receives will be given to the Armstrong family to help those kids through this unimaginable situation.
Right now at $25,000, I'm going to continue to work this campaign. I made a long-term commitment to the family. This is not a one-time instance. I'm going to continue to do fundraising and continue to provide support to them so he has the care that he needs.
Huntley has gotten about 50 clothing and shoe donations, and over $5,000 has already been raised on that GoFundMe. For those seeking help with domestic violence situations, they can call the number at 800-799-SAFE, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Adriana. Meanwhile, Killeen Police arrested a suspect for Saturday's deadly shooting. 53-year-old Larry Lamont Hawkins is currently booked at the Bell County Jail and now charged with murder. He's accused of shooting and killing 26-year-old Deontay Hawkins. The shooting happened Saturday, just before 8 p.m. on Russack Drive. Killeen Police said in a statement that this incident was also related to domestic violence. Hawkins' bond is set at $150,000. We step back for the news to talk about the weather. Chief Meteorologist Matt Farrell here as we get deeper into the week with our first look tonight at 5 o'clock. Hi, Matt.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Doing well.
Well,
all right.
He paused to find out. How are we doing?
I did. That was
Thank you.
That was totally unscripted. All right, let's take a look though at what's going on today. 62. It was a cooler day. If you got outside, you noticed it for sure. It started out at 39. A chilly start to your day. Won't be getting that chilly again overnight tonight, but we do have some cooler mornings here over the next couple of days before things start to warm up. Out there right now, things are about 13 to 15 degrees cooler than they were yesterday. So that's how much that cold front was able to affect us from yesterday to today. Started off in the 30s, and again, most of us ending the day in the lower to possibly even the mid 60s across the area. Right now in the 5 o'clock hour, we're falling into the 50s in Hamilton, Goldthwaite, Brownwood, Comanche, the rest of us in the lower 60s. So it's going to be another chilly night, like I said. But we have a little bit of cloud cover rolling in from the west and the southwest, and that's going to help us hold in just a little bit more of that heat in the overnight hours. So really, it's still going to be chilly, but it's going to be about 5 or 6 degrees warmer than it was as we started the day this morning. So keep that in mind. Another chilly start, just not quite as chilly as it was this morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll warm up just a little bit. We'll be back into the mid and upper 60s rather than the lower 60s. But the story for tomorrow will be the fact that we have at least a slight, about a 30% chance for some showers and thunderstorms during tomorrow afternoon. Of course, coming up in your full weather forecast, we're going to talk more about those storms. And I have your full Easter weekend forecast for you coming up.
All right, Matt, thanks so much. Back to the news now. Preparations are underway across Central Texas ahead of the total solar eclipse next month. And one Waco-based economic consultant says the thousands of tourists headed to our area will translate to millions of dollars.
Millions, you say? Okay, the cities across our viewing area will be getting a nice chunk of that millions, and it's creating buzz amongst business owners. 6 News reporter Mike Rogers spoke with several of them across Waco today. And Mike, preparations are already getting underway, huh?
Yeah, Chris and Lindsay, businesses I talk with are working hard to get ready. They're expecting anywhere from 75,000 to 300,000 people will be in Waco alone throughout the weekend. The Perryman economic research firm out of Waco says the city alone could be looking at an influx of $30 million that weekend, while they project Bell County could be taking in $32 million. But with that opportunity, comes preparation, as hotels, restaurants, and more will be doing their prep now to buy their supplies, but keeping most of that distribution chain within the state. The expectation is that Waco and surrounding areas will be ready to show off all their amenities at their disposal come the total eclipse.
Some of the smaller cities are trying to do some of the same things. Some of their destinations maybe aren't so well known, but on the whole, yeah, it's an opportunity for cities to capitalize in a big way. And I think Waco is somewhat uniquely situated because of the advantage that Magnolia gives them in terms of already being a destination.
For areas like Bell County, Perryman's Group is projecting around $32 million in that weekend leading up to the eclipse. Several hotels I spoke with across Waco are already fully booked. Bars and restaurants will be putting on specials, and the general feeling is obviously excitement heading in to this once-in-a-lifetime event, guys.
Yep, going to be a boom, that's for sure.
Yeah, such a boost to our local businesses. Mike, thanks so much. Join us on April 8th for the Eclipse on 6. That's only on the 6 Plus app, and it's all for free. We'll be live streaming the Eclipse as it reaches totality. The 6 Plus app is available on Roku and Fire Stick now. Just text the word binge to our number 254-777-6000 for a step-by-step guide on how to download the app. Plus, if you're cutting the cord, you can use the 6 Plus app to catch up on Central Texas news.
And the Lone Star State is set to become a leader in the space industry. The state launching the Texas Space Commission with the goal of advancing Texas in the space industry and space exploration. The Texas governor made the announcement at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. The board will oversee the state's program relating to space and also deliver grants for space exploration and even research.
Meanwhile, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton could be cleared from the felony charges that have been pending for nearly a decade. Prosecutors made a deal that would drop the securities fraud charges and avoid trial. Paxton was indicted in 2015 for allegedly duping investors in a tech startup without disclosing his involvement. The agreement would drop the 3 felony counts against Paxton. Paxton would need to pay roughly $300,000 to victims as restitution. He'd also need to complete 100 hours of community service and 15 hours of legal ethics education. The trial was set to begin April 15th. If Paxton had been convicted at trial, he could have faced life in prison.
Supreme Court justices heard arguments for the drug commonly used for abortions known as mifepristone. NBC's Susan McGinnis tells us about the case, which could further limit access to abortions.
What do we want? Freedom! When do we want it? Now!
Outside the Supreme Court today, demonstrators on both sides of the abortion issue. Inside, justices heard arguments in a case that could significantly restrict access to mifepristone, a commonly used abortion drug prescribed for decades.
Millions of Americans have used mifepristone to safely end their pregnancies.
The High Court reviewing an appeals court decision restricting mifepristone access, rolling back the FDA's making the pill easier to get, including through telemedicine and by mail.
We are asking the Supreme Court to hold the FDA accountable for violating the law to the detriment of women's health.
The group of anti-abortion doctors leading the legal challenge claims the FDA did not adequately evaluate the drug's safety risks and wants the High Court to limit access even in states where abortion remains legal.
The risks are extremely minimal. It's extremely safe.
The FDA says the pill has been safe and effective since its approval in 2000, and the pharmaceutical industry is cautioning. Undermining FDA's approval process won't stop at mifepristone.
It would upend not just Mifeprex, but virtually every drug approval.
Justices appeared skeptical of the challenge the anti-abortion doctors made.
They're saying because we object to having to be forced to participate in this procedure, we're seeking an order preventing anyone from having access to these drugs at all.
The Supreme Court is allowing full access to the drug while the legal proceedings play out. Susan McGinnis, NBC News, Washington.
And the justices are expected to make a decision on this case by early summer.
Well, at least 6 people are presumed dead after a major bridge in Baltimore partially collapsed after it was struck by a container ship. Take a look. Those 6 people remain unaccounted for as search teams continue looking for the individuals. Security video shows lights blinking and smoke climbing from the ship just before crashing into a center support column on the bridge. The Francis Scott Key Bridge is made of steel and is about 2 miles long. Around 31,000 cars travel it daily. Well, there is another video making the rounds on social media purporting to be the same bridge, but as Ariane Detil verifies, it's out of context.
Around 1:20 a.m. on Tuesday, Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed after a container ship struck a support column. Live stream video of the collision and collapse, posted by Streamtime Live, has been shared by multiple news outlets. About 2 hours later, a video posted on X claims to show a different angle of the collapse along with an explosion, helping to fuel alternate theories about how and why the bridge collapsed. But does this viral video show Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge? Let's verify using these sources. Using video forensics tools, Verify traced this footage back to a video posted by UK news outlet The Guardian in 2022. According to the Post, the video shows an explosion and subsequent collapse of the Kerch Bridge, which connects Crimea to Russia. We compared the viral video to Google Maps images of the Kerch Bridge to confirm the location. So we can verify, no, this video does not show a different angle of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. It's an old video of a bridge explosion in Crimea. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Detil.
All right, now we know. Well, have you seen this video? What was the strange light seen across Texas? Coming up on 6 News at 5. Why, we promise you don't need to panic.
It looks like Flight of the Navigator. Don't go anywhere though. Chris tries his hand at pickleball to highlight ways to prevent injuries in the popular sport.
Look at the form. Look at the form.
Did you break a leg?
Yeah.